Hi, welcome back. Let's talk about Act 1. Now, Act 1, often referred to as the setup, is where the foundation of your story are established. This act serves several essential purposes within a screenplay overall structure. Now, there are four things to expect in Act 1, which is 1, establishing the world and the tune of the story. And then number 2, we introduce our main characters and their goal. Number 3, we find the inciting incident and the plot twist or plot point 1. And then number 4, we lay the groundwork for moving into Act 2. Now let's talk about number 1, which is establishing the world and the tune. Introduction of the setting. Act 1 introduced the audience to the world in which the story will be taking place or take place. The environment, the social context, and time period are presented, giving the viewers a clear picture of the story background. Setting the tone and the theme. The overall mood or style of the screenplay is conveyed earlier on in Act 1. Themes that will be explored throughout the story are hinted at and setting expectation for what's to come next. Let us go to number 2, which we find in Act 1, introducing the main character and their goal. Character introduction. The protagonist and key supporting character are presented. The audience learn about who they are, their relationship, and a possible glimpse of their personality. Let's go to establishing the status quo. We see the daily life or normal world of the protagonist. The baseline is critical as it highlights the changes and challenges that the protagonist will face later. Identify desire and conflicts. Earlier on in Act 1, the main character's goal and motive are made clear. Any underlying internal or external conflicts begin to emerge, giving direction to the narrative. When that is done, we got now inciting incident and plot 3, which is plot point 1, which is our number 3 discussion that we found in Act 1. The inciting incidents. Towards the ending of Act 1, a significant event known as the inciting incident disrupt the established order that we were establishing, that we were getting comfortable with. The comfortable lifestyle of our protagonist is now disrupted by this thing that we call an inciting incident. This moment serves as a catalyst that changes the status quo and forces the protagonist into action, right? And again, it's setting the story in motion, right? The inciting incident propels the narrative forward by introducing the central conflict or challenge that will define the rest of the screenplay. Essentially, it marks the transition from everyday life into the realm of dramatic change. And the last point that we find in Act 1 is it lays the groundwork for Act 2, right? Which in this we have question raised. By the end of Act 1, the audience should have enough information to understand the initial context of the story and be curious about how the conflict will unfold. Questions about what happened next or how will the protagonist overcome this challenge are generated. And then clear narrative and direction, again with the stage set. The move into Act 2, often labeled as confrontation or rise in action, feels natural, as the story now has a clear problem or series of obstacles that must be addressed. Therefore, in summary, Act 1 is all about building the world of the story, introducing its key characters, and setting up the conflict through an inciting incident. Everything in this act functions to the ground the audience in the narrative and prepare them emotionally and intellectually for the journey that is about to unfold. This careful step is critical because it ensures that when the tension escalates in Act 2, the audience is fully invested in the characters and the world they inhabit. There you go. So what you must learn in Act 1, or what I'm trying to say in Act 1, is that Act 1 is the foundation of your movie. That's where you give your audience what the movie is about. That's where you introduce your main character, the one that we're going to see running through the movie. That's where you introduce the villain, the protagonist, and the problem that is going to disturb the comfortable life that our character was having. If you can check, the woman in the picture was relaxing on a sofa. That's a daily normal life, and that's our character. I show you another picture where she was opening a door, and then I wrote fear there to show that she has fear. That's her internal problem. She has fear, which means that she might be a widow, or she might be just a single mother, or just a single woman, right? And then what she fears the most, that's where you see the intruder coming. That's an inciting incident that is about to disturb that normal life of our protagonist, knowing that there's nothing that is going to harm her, and here comes harm, right? And then after that, she tries to hide, but then she was figured, the villain figured out where she is, and then he must start running, and then the villain is chasing him. And then when you it's just that I used the picture of a tiger and that guy falling, and then they reach to a point where now she cannot run, now she has to face her problem. That is in Act 1, which means Act 1 must leave the audience asking themselves, I want to know what's going to happen next. And that I want to know what's going to happen next, it's called the confrontation. That's where we go to Act 2, where now we are going to build tension, where action is going to happen, where she's going to try to fight that intruder, is going to try to fight that tiger, and we're going to see if our protagonist is going to win or not. So that's where the tensions of your movie starts, where you build obstacles that make people on their feet, that makes people to be biting their nails, that make people to be worried on their protagonist, whether she's going to overcome this problem or not. And then in Act 3, you are now telling us how she solved that problem. Did she won? Was the tiger able to catch her? Was the intruder able to kill her and get what he wanted or anything? That's up to you. But that's now called a resolution, where you're resolving the problem that started in Act 1, that was confronted in Act 2, and now it's been resolved in Act 3. Thank you very much.